Hello. Am I live? I can't tell. No. Starting. Everybody, thank you for coming. Nice to see you, Gretchen. Should just be a minute here. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh my God,
Pretty
it's crazy. It's crazy times. It's crazy.
I know. It's funny. Every week is different. I feel like last week I felt really optimistic and upbeat, and this week's harder.
I know. I've had moments of panic attacks. I've had that. Like recently, I think a lot of us, especially in the industry, are like, okay,
Right.
When is it going to get wild again? We're ready, guys.
Definitely ready. Doing lots of homework in this time and learning.
Do you have kids? How many kids do you have?
3.
Oh my gosh. What are their ages?
8, 9, and 15.
Oh my gosh. You're all over. You have so many different grades.
I know. It's a miracle I can get an hour where there's not chaos around me. So I'm happy for that.
I know. My little nuggets might run out and be like, hi. They were like, you're going live. It's not Friday.
They know the schedule. How old are yours?
Mine are 6 and 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 6 and 4. And they're dynamite. They're great. Today's her last day of kindergarten. They love it. They're actually loving it. They're at the age where they don't miss their friends. They're like, this is awesome. So we have a different model than you. Yeah, they're like, we don't need to go back ever again. Whereas your kids, I'm sure, are missing the friends.
They are a little bit, and they're getting on each other's nerves a bit more than they should.
I'm sure.
And it's, and it's hard to like the Roblox. Your kids are probably young for that, but like everything is iPad Roblox. And
yep, I'm sure.
Little screen addiction. It's like a real thing.
I'm not. Even at my son, he's like always. I'm like, you can't do it. No more.
Yeah. Like 10 hours. You should have had your fix. Like, exactly. But I should be playing chess with you. Something.
Exactly. I know. I was just doing a subtraction game. I was like, let's just try to do subtraction.
Yeah. It's hard. It's so hard to do it all. It's hard. I wanted to mention I saw Kendall gave you a shout out. She booked the Super Bowl commercial with you. She's a bicoastal management. Yeah. So she gave you a special thank you.
I love Kendall. Oh my gosh. What a gem. What a gem.
I agree.
Seriously. You guys have great people. You have beautiful people. I think what I love most about you guys, if you have such a big range. So it's not just like, here's all the like anorexic skinny people. Like you have all the range. You know what I mean?
We try to have a few of them and then tell them to eat a little bit. No.
Yeah, exactly. We do with you guys. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's nice. You have, because I think now it is all shapes and sizes, and I think it's just not so perfect. We don't need perfect. I think we want real people. We want like a real vibe. I say aspirational, but it's like quote unquote. We're all aspirational in our own way, and I think that's what's beautiful about being in commercials right now is you can just be what you want to be, and it is if you are super skinny, great. It's like if you got pounds, great. And I think you guys have a great range. That's what me and Jana were talking about. Like, what do we love most about Bicoastal? And it is that you guys have a great range of people. You have great plus size model there. Oh my God, you have like the best. That's the best.
We actually started our plus division when it was like new. It wasn't really happening so much, maybe 8 years ago. And so, I feel like lucky, I guess, in a way to have been inspired to be on the front lines of that. So diversity has always been important to us. Just, I feel like you always, why not have everything you're going to need? You know what I mean? So if I've seen it come up a couple of times and I'm like, we don't have like an Indian man over 50 with a dad bod. Yeah. It's in my head. Yeah, like I need that.
Well, you guys have it. I think what I think is great, because I think as women, we all struggle. Hey, man, I'm out running every day because it's like I want to be in tip-top shape. You know what I mean? I think women it's a battle. But I think what you have, like with your plus models is they've got this sense of confidence that they walk in. There is no sense of like, this is like, it just, it's a beautiful thing. Like, and that's, I think, what the market needs. It's the women that have some pounds on them that are proud of it.
I know. It's inspirational.
It's so inspirational. Yeah. And almost every commercial now is what they ask for. They don't want just, which I'm loving, which I just love because, raising a daughter, it's really hard. Body image is really, really hard. And it's like, who cares if you have a few pounds? It's just like,
Girl, I hear you. My daughter and I, when she was maybe 6, walked by a health food store with a sign for flat belly tea. I think it's called flat belly tea, one of those like make you poop teas. And she was like, Mommy, do I need flat belly tea? Like, I want a flat belly. And I was like, oh my God, you're 6.
No!
You're already like, So
God,
I feel like, and I've had anorexia in my family, eating disorders, and seen that with friends' kids too. It's like so devastating. So just to be a little part of it, like of the movement and bringing like society's images to a more diverse place. So it feels good.
It does. That's what I love most about the market, right? Like right now, I think that's what I love the most.
By the way, I just want to shout out Jessica Cole because she's rocking the LA office. So credit to her too for the wonderful board. And she's in there somewhere. I saw her pop up and say hi. So you know what? I usually start by asking people for their backstory because I think it's so interesting to hear like how you ended up a casting director. Do you mind sharing with our viewers your journey?
It's so funny. So I moved out here like everybody else and their mother to be an actor. And I moved out. God, I always like have to think about it, and I should know this fast. I think 18 years ago. 18 years ago. So I moved out. I was a big theater girl. I did tons of stuff in New York, all off Broadway. I didn't hit Broadway yet. In fact, when I had moved out, so it was right after 9/11. All theaters sort of shut down. You're there.
Yeah,
you're New York.
I was there for it. Yeah.
So everything shut down, and I remember I got offered a job at Seacoast Repertory, and it was for like no money. And I was like, I've got to get out of here. I can't do theater anymore. I have to and I had gotten by that time my 6th callback for Rent, Maureen. So I was like close. And I don't know. I always think like, what the heck? Why didn't I stay? Like that for so long. I was like, well, I was so close. But it was driving me out here, right? I mean, that's our journey. So I moved out here and I was like, I'm not going to do any theater. I'm going to do no theater. I'm just going to do film and TV and commercials. And that's a joke because I didn't get anything. I was like, this is terrible. So I went back and I decided I was going to produce my own showcase. And I always tell actors to do this. So a buddy of mine, Adrian Bewley, if you're listening, Adrian is one of my best friends. I called him up. I said, hey, I want to do some theater. I want to do it again. I want to do theater. I've got a bug. He said, okay, me too. So I said, great, let's get all our money together. And I was like, by the way, I already have the rights. I'm ready to go. He's like, what? I didn't know what? I thought we were just going to sit down and brainstorm. So we sat down and I had gotten the rights to I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change. Do you remember that musical?
Yeah.
And it was dynamite. I got the rights to it. I was waiting tables. 2 full-time jobs. So I had 40 hours a day. 40 hours in the day, 40 hours at night, 2 different restaurants.
Unbelievable.
I made it equity. I wanted to make it right. And I cast it. So I had to do everything. So I had to do all the acting, not just the acting, because when you're doing your own projects, and it was $20,000. I took every penny I had. I had nothing at that time. I mean, I was eating literally macaroni and cheese. That was it. And I invited, of course, like as I was casting, I was like, oh, there's some agents I want to be with. So I did kind of hit up the people. And I was like, hey. And then I invited everybody and anyone I knew. I invited everybody. And from there, people started so then producers came. My husband's a director. His friends came. Everyone came. I invited everyone and everyone. And after the show, everyone was like, so who did the casting? And I'm like, what about the acting? And they were like, no, who did the casting? It's so good. And so I'm like, okay, great. So I was like, and that turned into, hey, would you do my short film? Turned into, hey, will you do my commercial? And so that's sort of, that was kind of my in. And then in 2008, when the market crashed, my husband and I worked for this video game company, and their budgets that were now $500,000, you remember this time, were cut to $30,000 a project. And I was like, hey, I'll do the casting. I know how to do the casting. And so we did millions of those. We worked for Disney Interactive. So we just did 100, so many jobs of kids. That's how I bought my house, was literally those jobs. And from that turned into, okay, and then I was studying with the producer at that time. I was like, so I could either go producing or I could go casting. And I was like, I can't do it. I'm going to be in an office all day. So I was like, I'm just going to take a chance and would really push my casting. And so I did a bunch of jobs. And then I always have to give a shout out to one of my bestest, dearest friends, Shirley Porti at Burrell, was so wonderful to me. Her daughter was moving out here. I got on a Procter & Gamble job with her. And her daughter was moving out here. And in an elevator, she was crying. And she said, my daughter's place fell through. And I said, hey, she can live with me.
Oh,
and
wow.
She was like, what? And I said, I just got a place. We live in the middle of nowhere on the east side. But I would hate if I had a kid and she had nowhere to go. And so she was like, are you serious? I just met this woman. And I was like, I'm serious. I know I seem crazy, but I'm again. And so she was wonderful. She said, after that job, she had called me up and she said, I'll never know how to repay you, but I will give you every casting job that lands on my desk.
Wow.
And I get chills thinking about it. It's Shirley Porti. And of course, some big, Nick Miller, Johnny Edwards over at 72 and people that just really believed in me and just always stuck with me. I mean, that's what it is. Because for casting, once you get in with someone, you're in. I don't know if it's the same with agents, but it's like once you're, you know what I mean? Whereas an actor, you do a job unless it's for like they want a recurring character, you can't really hit it off with that client because it's like, bye, that was great.
Yeah.
Casting, it was like finally it worked for me in my personality that I could, work a room, and then those people became my family, my friends. And so there I just kind of, I fell into it. I fell in love with it. I think that was the best part. I think the shift from acting to casting was really hard because I was 20 something. I was like, having to put all these other 20-year-olds that I'm like, it was really hard. But then once I saw through that, it's my dream job. I love it. I love helping people. I love helping actors. I remember being that actor in the room, with the like just shitty day and just like driving for an hour to get seen for 5 seconds. And in New York, 16 bars, it's all you got. And it was like, get out. And you just waited 8 hours, to get, so it's like, I remember those days. So I think that's the thing with all actors. They know in my office, like they're going to come into love and to support and excitement. And I just love it. I love commercials. Everyone's like, what are you going to do next? I'm like, I just love commercials. I love them. They're fast. They're furious. I'm fast, furious. I like if I'm in a job with somebody that I'm not really vibing with, it's in and out. I'm done in a week. Right. It's like, it's just, I just love commercials. I think it's my favorite.
So amazing. Well, your energy is fast paced, so you need that. I'm sure, like that world. I
do. Yeah, it's like because my husband, he just got into movies, a few years ago, and he's on a job for 3 years, and I'm like, oh my god,
that's a long
it's
time.
just like, and it's amazing, and he loves it. It's his path and his journey. But for me, I love meeting new people every day. That's why I love commercials. I get to see 1,000 when we're cooking, 1,000 to 1,500 people a week in my office, and it's like awesome. I get to just meet new people and new producers and new creatives. I just love that. And I am fast paced, and I think it's good. By Monday, I'm done. By Friday, I'm into a new job, and
and you get the instant gratification. You don't have to wait for the baby to incubate for 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, yeah, exactly. I love it. Yeah.
One thing that's been so nice, I just have to say about doing these is how many casting directors really do want to make actors comfortable and have that room filled with a sense of like love and support.
Yeah.
And I think if anyone is like, listen to all of the ones that I've done, I hope that they take away that and it eases the nerves, because obviously you're a better performer if you don't have your nerves going and you can feel like a safe space.
Yeah. And, I've had actors cry to me. I've had actors, say I got to come back, and that's like a number one rule in our office. And anyone who's listening, from especially you guys, like we're down. If somebody's having a bad day, there's a Starbucks downstairs. Just say, look, I need 2 hours and I'll be back. And we're like, cool, sounds great. Like anyone in our office, we're totally down for that because we get it. We just get it. Right. We don't, and it's like the way we're successful is because of actors. I think that's a big key point. I think is great energy from them is going to get us more jobs too. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want anybody coming in feeling, and if anyone ever does, if I ever, like once in a while, I'll get like a something and it just devastates me. I'm like, guys, you know, and I just, because I never want anyone to feel that way. I remember that feeling as an actor. I remember just how hard it is. It's hard out there. So
I know, I have all the respect. I like to tell the story that when we were young in our business, there was a casting director I had met probably at a holiday party. I don't know. But anyway, she was like, you should come in for this. It's like exactly you. It's like a young mom and it's this like whatever food thing. And I went in the room because I was like, okay, sure, it'd be fun. I haven't done anything like this in years. Because I too started on that side of things before I realized I didn't have the wherewithal to be on the actor side of things. But I was like, sure, I'll go to your commercial casting. That'll be fun. Change of pace, see behind the scenes. It's been a while. So nervous. And I walked in and nobody smiled. Like the three people with the camera and the casting were just like they gestured for where I was supposed to go and give my like 3 sentences about some food. And I just remember being like, God, that was awful. I couldn't do it again. So all the respect, because I feel like you don't always get a warm room. And so you have to go in like with your energy and your bubble to just be your best self no matter what, because you can't control anything else, and hope for the best.
yeah, it's true. And I think half of it is because my girls, I'm obsessed with my team. I have the best team in the whole universe. It's an all girls team. Well, we have some boys. We love them that are freelance, but like and they're part of the girls. We always say, you're like the girls. But they're seeing sometimes 200 people a day. And so they're trying to fly through that. And if they're not like, you know, jumping and hugging everyone, it's not because they don't love them. Because I can tell you, Taryn and Mandy, who run mostly my rooms, they will give people. One time there's this like one little kid in the room and I was like, I ran across the other way and I'm like, hey T, did you get a lot of takes? And she had like 48 takes in her queue. Like we will do so many to get people. So sometimes it's not that like, and I think actors should know that it's not that if they're not coming into a big smile, sometimes it's just people have to get through the day really fast, or people are moving fast, or working through lunch, and it's not that inside of them they don't want the best for you. You know what I mean? Because I think as for me, I used to take offense to it. I would be like, but I always say to people also, like, know your people. When people walk in and say to Taryn, like, hey T, how's it going? Instantly she's like, I'm great, thanks. Because nobody asks them all day when they're hustling through. And you know what I mean? Like,
and there's a lot of stress on your side of the desk, and hours that add up beyond your casting hours filtering through. And so like all the respect to your side too. I know from the times of day we get emails that you're not just working 9 to 6 or 9 to 5.
No, oh my God, it's crazy. And my team's and they're like so good. Seriously, sometimes I'll have to tell Jana, I don't even know if she's tuned in right now, but Jana, you know Jana. I'm like, girl, you don't text anybody at like 12 p.m. Or 12 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, we're done. But they'll still be going. They're still like, you know, and especially now it's self-tapes. There's times the team will be like working through the night. I'll see it because I'll wake up in the morning and there's 100 more people in the link. And I'm like, oh my God.
Amazing.
So, thank you for that. Thank you. They are really, you know, but again, we love it. It feeds into what we love. I didn't want a 9 to 5 job where I get to, you know, walk away. I like the stress. I like the oh God, we didn't nail it yet. I like the panic. I like the you know, like
where haven't we looked?
Yes, I like it. And I think my team does too. We have one job, you know, like the pandemic. Now it's like, you know, slowly. Yeah. It's painful. My poor team is like, oh God, Dina, get more. Because I'm like, what's wrong with that link? And then I'm like over obsessing about stuff. So we like the panic and the, you know, the movement, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to come into this industry on the our side of things, knowing it's not a typical 9 to 5. There's going to be ups and downs. There's the panics of the morning that the actor model cancels too at 7:30 a.m. and like hopefully you were up at 7:30 a.m. to get ahead of it. And
which is why I don't do background casting.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh God, because it's like, you know, there's a lot of, you know, people will bail out, you know, at 3 a.m. and unless it's like someone begs me on a job, like, Dina, I know you only do a CP, but please can you just scatter in? I'm like, because they don't sleep. Those casting directors deserve awards. Those guys, they don't sleep. They are on that phone, just like on, you know, because at least I do think, and I think sometimes why sometimes actors come into overloaded rooms sometimes is because a lot will bail. You know, sometimes I was looking at the numbers and I wonder if it's going to change after the pandemic, but there'd be like 30 people that didn't show up a day. That's a lot.
Out of how many? 150? Oh, wow.
That's
So
a
20%.
lot.
Yeah.
So you got to up your numbers. And then,
we've wondered, and I don't know if we've ever asked you specifically, because I think sometimes when it's just so busy and you're like kind of swinging the ball as the bat as the balls come, we wouldn't. But on a slower day, if we notice like more than say 20% of ours are declining, sometimes we're happy to replace with similar.
Yeah.
So that's always, I mean, just keep in mind, you could be like, yo, Bicoastal.
Yeah,
like,
and you can always hit us up. Like for us, hit us up and just say that, because if it is an agent like you guys that we know all your types. We are totally going to be like, yeah.
I'm not going to give you like a giraffe when you wanted a pony. Like we're going to give you a similar pony.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. No, exactly. And I think as long as you just say, like, hit us up, because sometimes,
sometimes you're probably overbooked, so you don't care. But...
Well, sometimes if there's a lot of crashers, and so T will call me and say, "Hey, did you tell Bicoastal to send in a bunch of people?" So as long as we say yes, we did, that's great. Otherwise, I think it's just too much, because it's on our end, it's hard to enter in people in the system. I don't know if you know this, but on our end, so when they come in the room, if they're not on the schedule, she has to manually enter all this information.
Oh, wow.
And the phone number and the agency, like just enter it, so it slows down the pace. Whereas if you're on the schedule, it's automatically in there. So you come in, you put a D, Dina comes up. A bunch of Ds will pop up, and it's like you hit a button, the return, and it's all there. So I think that's the trick. But if you replace them, I think here's a great idea. If you replace them in the schedule, and just tell us that, and then we can refresh Casting Frontier on our end, or LA Casting, and then it will be automatically in the system.
Okay. All right.
So that's kind of the key.
So out of curiosity, what percentage do you do SAG versus non-union?
So it varies. Right now, 0. So we've had Jana. Is Jana here? Jana, let me see. Jana, are you here? Let me see if she tunes in. She's she tells me all my numbers. She's my numbers girl. But I think there's or Taryn, are you here? Someone. I think we've had like 12 during the pandemic, 11 or 12 jobs. I'm here, Jana. How many jobs have we had during the pandemic? Is it 12, or today's the 13th? And then of that, they've all been non-union.
Yeah. Well, the unions being so strict about the guidelines, which, they should. Right. So I think by the time things are officially open with the guidelines from governors, you'll get some union back. But like your average year, let's throw 2020 away.
Throw 2020 away. So, it varies. I mean, it's funny. SAG asked me the same question because I have an office in the SAG building. So sometimes we'll sit down and talk about it. And, it varies. I don't know. I would buy 50-50 would be a lie. There's more non-union. But
I mean, for what comes across our desk, for sure, the union is smaller. But I guess I just wondered if through this pandemic and coming out of it, if maybe there'll be a push to do more union because everyone will feel more safe and protected. Be interesting to see. Then again, budgets are tighter.
I know. There's so much, I think, that goes into it that I know it's so tricky. 12 non-union since quarantine, all are non-union. I would have to say it's definitely more non-union. I'd say definitely 60% is non-union. Definitely. Yeah. You're seeing probably the same thing, right? 60, 70% of jobs. Yeah. I would say
in LA, it's a little more union heavy than in New York.
Right.
So it's because a lot of actors will ask, should I go FICOR, or what's the perfect spot to be? And I'm usually like, SAG eligible? Maybe FICOR is FICOR a turnoff for you in a commercial casting for SAG, or you treat them as SAG?
I treat everybody the same. I go by labor law. So anybody can submit on any of my jobs. And if you're right, I'm going to call you in. So of course it's like, if it's a union job, I'm going to go very heavy on union. But it's labor law. I think there was a time where, do you remember when we used to write like, must be in good standing with SAG? Do you remember when people used to write that?
I still see that sometimes.
You're not allowed to write that. It's a labor law thing. So it's anyone can be up for any job. any ethnicity can be up for anything. So there's it because of labor laws. So I don't ever look at anybody and poo-poo anybody. Again, also like people will say, "Do you put out self-submission?" I do. I see fresh faces. I have so many people that come in from New York that have no agent that I'm like, yeah, X amount I'll throw on the table. So, of course, again, if it's a union job, I will call in a ton of union people, and then I'll ask my company, are they open to Taft? I would say probably 70% are open to Taft because lots of jobs now are looking for a unique thing.
Right. Right. So, you want freckles and like a tooth gap, and it's like you get the pool you get.
Exactly. So, but
I guess I mean specifically FICOR. There's no negative connotation to FICOR because it's when you go SAG, but the financial core thinks that you've kind of left, but you're still in the union.
Right. And I think that's a thing, right? That's a thing that's tricky with SAG. I think that's a thing that everyone's had issues with if they should do it. I don't look at your union status when I'm, I get, so no joke, I promise you, like Wells Fargo, I always use this example. Wells Fargo, I got 20,000 submissions. 20,000 submissions.
How many roles?
98. We hired 98 OCP. It was awesome. It was a beautiful, awesome job. It was amazing. I didn't have time to look at the SAG status. Of course, I go off of, because through LA Casting, anyone can submit. So it's not like you're filtering. So when it's a non-union job, like SAG has asked me this question. If it's a non-union job and SAG has said, do you pull in union? I leave it to people to be able to submit the right people that can do that job. I can't tell. Also with like, there's that weird thing. So when we station 12, you have to be in good standing with SAG or the agency gets fined, which is kind of a strange thing. That gap, right? Yeah. Kind of a strange thing because we don't know until we station 12. We have no idea if somebody's union. You could be lying on that submission. So I think SAG is trying to fix that. The last time I had talked to them, they were like, wow, we have to try to figure out a way to curb that more to,
Right. I've definitely experienced people saying like, I'm SAG. Well, I could be, I just need to pay the money. So I'm waiting for the thing to pay the money. And so far everyone has honored it. So once they're on hold, confirmed, like, shooting in 2 days, they go pay. But they might have misrepped a little bit that they were already SAG because in theory they just needed to pay and they knew they were going to pay. But yeah, it's like, do you put the cart before the horse when it's a little bit of an investment? So
I know the SAG stuff is always so tricky because people ask me and I say like, just follow SAG. Follow SAG. I always say go to the SAG site because they were like asking me contract things on my live this week. I don't know. I just follow the audition.
It's a very deep hole, that website. But if you're in the union, I think you just can call and get your questions answered and everything too.
Exactly. And again, if it's a SAG job, I will call in. But if it's non-union, I'm not looking. I can't look at that. I'll get and not even like I would say like even a regular non-union job that we've just put out. I mean, I've seen like all agencies submit because it's so slow. And it's almost 10,000. I'm telling you. So I can't possibly look at. Also, when we're viewing it on our end, we don't see the status. So when we're viewing it, it's like we're looking at a headshot. And again, we're going like, I'm trying to get through a ton. I try to like be very diligent, especially when people will give me the time. I try to go through like a bazillion. I get up at 4 a.m. I'm a nut job. And I try to go through as many as I can. And that's crazy. And of course, I cannot get through 20,000. But I try to go through a lot. I really try to give it a good whirl because I feel like everybody deserves a chance. Yeah. And so... again, I don't poo-poo anything. I don't look at that. I look at, especially a lot of jobs are unique and they need a certain thing. And right off the bat, almost every time I get a SAG job, I'm like, are they open to Taft? Just so I know, if the box is small, somebody that can double Dutch. I mean, there's like 5 people that can double Dutch here in the world.
I know. There's the randomest things we get asked. I remember like there was a year we needed skateboarders like 8 times. Which is kind of a lot.
Yes, I've gotten skateboarders and professional BMXers and just really unique. Almost every job has a really unique thing. A handlebar mustache that has 35 turns in it. I mean, it's like the weirdest stuff. And it's like, you know, I just say like, I just kind of put it all out there. I don't look negatively at anybody. If somebody's doing background work, I don't look negatively at that. I look at like,
if you're right. If you're right, you're right.
If you're right, you're right. And if it's a dialogue job, I dig deeper and listen to reels. So it's always a headshot first. That's why I say make sure your headshot is dynamite. All your money that you spend should be on your headshot. That's your money maker.
I have a headshot question I like to ask. How often do you like to see a new headshot?
If you change. So I've changed in 10 years for sure. So I would totally up mine. But if times are slow and you're just like, I'm going to do some headshots, don't do that because times are slow. I think if you've changed, kids should always change it. Kids should be like, they're always changing. And it's really hard. I have to like put on a cap of like, you know.
Does this person really look 12? Like, or if it's their 10-year-old headshot? Yeah, that's great to hear. So like it could be 3 to 4 years. Or it could be in 6 months if you went from a blonde to a brunette or a redhead or a beard to
Exactly. If you change your hair, for sure. If you've changed
but you don't feel like a staleness. You don't kind of notice like your eye if you've seen someone 1,000 times in 3 years with the same headshot. You're not like tired of them. Okay.
I like
that's
it.
Good
you know, it's funny. Some people like that change it. It throws me off. Like I'm like, why did they change that? They didn't need to change it. Right. Or we'll tell them to go back to the other picture because I'm like, everybody knows you as that picture. You book a ton. Don't screw up what you have. It's like using the dirty shirt at the callback. If that's your lucky, thing, keep it. In my opinion, it's only if you change. Women, I say, try to do like light makeup, touch up what you can. Here's the problem. It's a touch-up game, right? Everybody in their 40s is so much touch-up on there.
And then you have nothing here, and it's like, but you could be 23. We don't need you to be 23.
And I think the problem is that here's the problem I battle, because if you're like in your 40s and then you don't touch up, you look.
It's about the right amount of touch-up. Just a couple of lines.
I know some girls I'm thinking of right now that I wish I could say their names and say, talk to them, because these girls have it going on.
There's actually someone who I don't know if she's here. We literally just yesterday, she got something retouched, sent it to me, and I was like, it's beautiful, but it's too beautiful. Like, can they give you a little bit, a line back under here? Like, you want to look your age because you're in a book for, a 5-year up or down.
Yes.
So.
I think, again, this is a beautiful time of commercials, embracing who you are. People, we want wrinkles. We don't want to, like, commercially, they don't want a lot of plastic surgery. They want they want wrinkles, That being said, I've been like, oh, should I get something done? I mean, I get it. I'm a female too. So it's like, I totally get it. But they, I think the more you can just embrace who you are, the girls that I'm thinking of right now, the 2 girls, embrace who they are. If they've got wrinkles, they are in shape. They look awesome for their age, but they've got wrinkles, and they go in there and they don't care about their wrinkles. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Just and their headshots are good. They're like not too modelly. Be normal. Have your hair normal. Be normal, because I think if you look like a glamour magazine, it just stands out. It looks weird.
Right.
It's too much commercially. Maybe not for print. I think print's different.
Maybe not if you're like going out for beauty campaign stuff and that's your portfolio. But I think for your main go-to headshot of the natural is definitely going to serve you better. So do you like people to bring headshots or portfolios to your castings?
Always have a headshot in your car just in case, especially at a callback. I think for us, that's the thing. I used to take those things all the time. And my husband was like, we have a million headshots in this house, because then I would feel bad about throwing them away. So I'd have like millions of them. And so I don't take them anymore. But there's been times at a callback, if I've called you and I've done this to you guys, hey, can you...
Oh, what happened?
I've done this to you guys. Hey, can you send somebody over at the callback? If you're being sent in over at a callback, for sure, bring a headshot, because that means they don't have that little picture that we print out and put. You're not on the schedule. You're brand new to us in that callback room. So, literally, I've drawn pictures before as a joke and been like, next up is Joey. And so, if you have a headshot, do it. Just have 10 or 20. I don't think you need to go buying like you used to back in the day.
And what about comp cards? Like, since it's commercial, if they have a comp card with 4 different shots, you know, their front headshot and like a fitness shot on the back, and
Sure.
Either one is fine for you?
Either one is fine for us. Either one, sure. Sometimes that might even be better, because then it's like we see different styles. Yeah, that might be better. Yeah,
okay,
I think that's great.
Don't
waste number. A lot of actors ask me, should they get those postcards? Don't waste them. Don't send us postcards unless you're going to tell me like, I had a great audition. Taryn and Mandy and Jana are amazing, and I'm obsessed with them. Other than that, I never throw a thank you card out. So anybody that writes me a thank you card, I have a box of them. Jana knows where if I die, they throw this box out, because it's just a box. I never throw it out. But if you're like telling me just your new representation or any of that stuff, we get so many a day. It's a waste of money. Don't waste your money. Put the money into, save it for your next set of headshots that you're going to get.
Okay. And I don't know if your email is even like out there, but do you get like the MailChimps or the announcements or the pitches directly that you do or don't like?
Sometimes we don't mind. Email pitches are great. The phone pitches are hard for us. People are like, no, you don't have, they're like, and we're the worst, guys. I'm sorry if you've been one of them that are like, you don't have a phone. When I got my own studio, I was like, I can't answer the phone. I can't answer the phone. Like, I have a million things. And I usually try to come in and run a lot of my sessions. So I'm in there. I don't really have time to hear pitches or hear. And most of our phone calls, I'm not even kidding, are like, Joey stuck at a traffic light. Can you still see him? And I'm like, I'll see Joey. I think it's also like, it's not your guys' fault. I think some people are hard on people if they're late.
Some people are. Some casting directors give like a 10-minute late call, you know, like, are they still coming? And you know, I get that too. Maybe they're seeing less people. Maybe they have a scheduled lunch. Maybe they were matching them with another actor. But we definitely and I was thinking this actually earlier in our conversation, the few casting directors that are a bit scary, like, I love them all because I get it. Like, I'm sure I have a little scary in me sometimes too. But like, you know, the one like, and you're like, okay, guys, everyone has to do this. It just makes us all more professional, right? But we don't want to get yelled at, so we're not going to yell at the talent either, because that's not our style. But at the end of the day, we try to have a nice base of like, look at your ways, add 15 minutes, plan to be early, because sometimes you're 10 minutes late, they're calling, and then we don't know you're late. And glad you're not one of those. I'm more your style of the world. Like, you know, if I'm interviewing a new talent and they're like, I'm always like, it's fine for me, because, you know, I book an hour per, and so I have a little run over, but like, it might not be fine for some castings. So,
and you're in New York, right? You run the New York. It's why it's like, it's New York. You can't. If those trains are late, those trains are late. What are you going to do? And they're always late. It's like, I get, you know, and I think that's the way I grew up in Long Island. Same thing. I think it's like, I'm used to that. Like, might be a little bit late. I don't know. I don't mind it. Here's what is tough for us. On a union call, we try to really follow union rules. We're big, like, on following what the union says. And, the problem is when people come really early and they want to be seen, it's really difficult for us. We're going by the audition time, not the time you sign in. So some people will get very irritated. But I signed in at 3:00, but your call's not till 5. The clock doesn't start till 5. And so it's really hard. And again, I think that for us is hard in the schedule. It's like every person in this industry should run a SAG front lobby. It is so hard. It is like worse than the SATs. It is so hard to understand. Like, what time does the clock start? What this, what that? You don't want people to sign out. You don't want your agency. Like, it's like, you know, it's like you're trying to hustle. So, the way that happens is because people are late. Sure, sometimes it's our fault. We are not perfect. Sometimes it's our fault, and we're just spending too much time with too much dialogue. It's, you know, not that we're having martinis. It's like, but I think that for us, if everyone could spread the word, that's what I've been told, is that we're the only ones that go by call time or audition time. But that's the rule. You should be going by audition time, not the time that people sign in.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
And I think anyone watching this who's on the actor side or model side, like that 5 minutes before or after, kind of forgivable. So you have a 10-minute window, but try to stick to that if you can. Because being really early is not convenient.
Yeah, and it's like, exactly. I would rather you be late. To be honest, I would rather you be late, because it's like being early, then that crowds the lobby. But Yeah, and I don't think you need to call if you're stuck in the car. Again, for our office, we don't care. We're not going to call your agent. We've called an agent. I think we've called on people 2 times in my career of 13 years. I've only called 2 times.
Wow.
That's it. I really can only think of the one, but I know there's somebody 2. Now it just came to me. It's like you have to really be like doing something that's out of line to my team. It's always my team. If you hurt my team's feelings, then I'm like upset. But if you're late, I'm not going to call your agent and say like, hey, unless it's a callback and I really want them to book. I'm like, callback, be on time, be calm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then or we'll usually say it too. We always say it in an email. If we're like, really try to stick to your time because it's a small callback. We always say that so that people know, or like you're being paired up with somebody. So don't F it up because then Joey's sitting there with nobody in the lobby. So, yeah, but we would rather you be late in our office. So stroll on in, guys.
Right. No, but don't be late at 6 o'clock. Or
don't be late at 6 o'clock. Don't. Yeah, try not to be late because I've got Taryn who's a soldier and will always go back. She's had people that'll stop her in the elevator and go, and she's shut down the whole lobby. The lights are done, lock the door, and she'll go back in there. And she will, if she sees anybody in her iframe on the way to the car, she goes back and lets them in. Mandy's done it too. They're crazy.
You know what? We had a lovely holiday party this winter in LA, or I guess it was fall because I did it a little early. Next time we have one, it clearly won't be 2020. We won't be able to be together having cocktails in small quarters. You guys have to come. I want to give you all hugs for being so amazing.
Oh my God, I would love that. Yes, I would come. Jana's probably going to say, yes, please tell Dina to come because it's me. She's like, we'll see these. And Jana's like, let's go to these parties. And I'm like, Jana. I'm just like, I've got little ones. But
I understand. As a mom, I understand. You can't do it.
But now they actually will go to sleep. Now I'm ready to party. After this quarantine, I'm like, who wants to go out for a drink? I'm ready.
Did you see the Instagram post coming out of quarantine? You're either going to be a monk, a chunk, a hunk, or a drunk. I think it depends on my week. I'm like, one week I'm feeling hunky, one I'm feeling drunky.
I know it. I had to stop. It was like the second weekend. I was like, we're not drinking anymore. We didn't. We only had beer on like Memorial Day, Mother's Day. That's it. Because I'm like, I can't. I will. It's too. I would just be doing. How am I going to go back to work? I'm gonna be like, I'm not going in. So I had to I stopped, and now I run like 3 to 4 miles every day. I'm a nut.
That's amazing.
I kind of became the like others. I tried to like, I don't know. I was like, and I'm really proud because my team is doing the same thing. We all do like the intermittent fasting, and we all are on a workout chain, and we cycle like we're all together trying to stay very focused because I feel I was going to go off off the wagon. So I haven't partied since March.
I think that's amazing. I only have like healthy weeks, and then I'm like back to being like indulgent. But then after a week of indulgence, I'm like, okay, what was that like exercise routine and like vegan, my vegan cleanse?
Are you vegan?
For a day or two here and there.
That's what Taryn does. Taryn does like I think she did a 12-day fast, just juice.
Wow.
She's a rock. It's insane.
That's insane. But, so you know what? Gosh, I knew this just from like watching you that I was gonna have an amazing rapport with you and enjoy our time, and it would fly by, which it already is at 4:44. So for our last like 15 minutes, we're just trying to think what are some other great like wisdoms to share with people. How about self-tapes? I think like hopefully everyone's gotten the basic self-tape tips. They're even out there on like the LA castings or backstage, like little images so you guys can find it. But are there some tips you have or things you really don't like to see in a self-tape and in the way of framing or background or lighting or colors?
So I think for what we've gotten, it's all natural. We want your environment because chances are we're going to shoot in your environment. So for us, I know some people are saying like green screen and stuff like that. We don't need that, but we need you to have some good light in where you are. Taryn is on here right now. Taryn has an amazing ring light. T, could you pump in with that information? Taryn got this great ring light that you can put anywhere in her house, and it looks fantastic. It attaches the phone. It is a great way to film, and she looks gorgeous on it. So I think just invest in that, and that was all under $100.
Yeah, I got one on Amazon for $50. I'm using the thing for the tripod. I didn't put the light on because I have a good window, but yeah, it's you can have like a $30 to $50 one, and that would help.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like just something simple. I think Slate your name, still keep your personality. It's hard to, to have personality. I know in self tapes, it's really hard because that's our job, is to pull stuff out of you guys. So if you can do 2 takes, do them different. If they let you do 2, do 2 different. The reason we're doing 2 is we want to see if you can do something different the day of. It's not to see if you can do the same thing. So make choices. If it's comedy, have fun. Do one improv on the second one, especially for us. Just slate your name, have fun in the beginning. The slate's everything. We'll turn off real fast if it's like, hey, what's up? My name is Dina. But if it's like, hey, what's up? My name is Dina. It's commercials. It's light. We need light right now. Unless, of course, it's dark, then you can say it dark. But you should have personality right in that. I always tell everyone, send everything in one file. Send everything. Jana, tune in to How You Like It, or Tease here too, how they like it to be sent. I think in like a zip drive, or how we like it to
downloadable
be sent.
links.
Yeah, no YouTube. YouTube's really hard because then I guess you can get viruses and it's kind of a mess. So just nice and clean. Have fun. 2 takes. One whole thing though. When you send in those 2 takes, it should be just one quick thing under a minute or whatever it is.
And labeling is important. Like the little things they can do or we can do, so your jobs are easier since you're getting so many. I think
exactly.
Like labeling.
And just play with the product. If the product is like somebody on their like computer, right, or something, play with it. Get in there and be that. But if it's not, and it's something that's a little bit more, we want a little space, then do this. And I would always come back out for a full frame. So I have everyone sort of slating here, going back out so we can see your whole apartment, we can see your whole body, and then you come back in. And then I would frame it like a 3/4, like something like that.
I think you're going to be in a self-tape land for a while. Even when shoots will be back in studios. You'll probably be casting from self-tapes, right? Do you think?
I do. I'm going to fight for in-person casting as well. So what our plan is to do is to have still X amount. So only 20% or 30% will be allowed in the office. And then we're still going to have a ton of self-tapes. Because I'm afraid that we lose that in person. And I think that's really important. I think that I can see it. We can see it. It's double the work, not in that like, just loading, but it's also like we have to go back and say, oh, Peter, can you do it again? It was this, it's like, so it's just, we're not getting like, we're able to say cut. We know exactly how you want to do it. It's become a crazy game of telephone, right? So Tara and I've worked with
following instructions. Following instructions is so important, right? Like reading, if you want to know location and height and who you room with, and all you get back is like location, it's a problem.
Read it. You know what? It's what I fail at. I don't read enough. Like I'm so bad, but I got better at it because I was like, I have to read more. So definitely read those instructions. We have things that are off the wall. Like I'm like, what is happening? No one's reading. And I say, call your like mom or your dad or your grandma or your best friend or somebody that'll listen to you, or your agent, and just read it out loud. Because sometimes when you read something and then you read it out loud, you hear something totally different. So read it, read it 100 times, because what we need is in there.
Yeah.
I know. It's a game of telephone. We're trying to
I think sometimes maybe it's like a sense of deadline and urgency, and people just get 75% of it, and they're eager. And you're like, but that's too, so we can usually step in before we're going to send it to you, but like it helps us too.
No, it's true. Yeah, it's like and that being said, speed is good. I think like the half of the reason that I feel like I'm busy is because I'm fast. So when a job comes in, I don't wait a few minutes to get back. I'm like, that sounds great. When are we on? Like because you will lose a job. I'll lose a job driving into work. Like on Christmas time, I don't drive. So I Uber because I'll lose a job from just being on the road. Like that's how fast. So same for actors. Now, self-tapes, we could put out a bazillion. We could put out that schedule to a bazillion. Not that we are, but we could do that. And then just wait until it all trickles in. And then just, now it's insanely hard for the actor. That's what I feel. Great opportunities. I feel like people are going to see more opportunities, but how many people are going to be put in front of the director? So be fast about it. I would say be fast. Because it is a long time for us to load. We're downloading, then we're putting it back on LA Casting. It's a time thing. I have a team of 3, so I can do it pretty fast. But don't wait. If we say by Monday at 9 a.m., don't wait till that time, because I can tell you everybody else has gotten it in.
Right.
At by noon the day before.
Right.
That's the tricky part. And then do we get to that by time? And I'll make everyone like, guys, we got to go through and open up all those zip files. It's just so hard.
Yeah. No, totally fair. Early bird gets a worm is an expression for a reason, and totally agree. I've been known to change the deadline, by like 12 hours. So
good job. Do it. I'm telling you, because it's like, otherwise it's just so hard. But yeah,
it helps also if someone forgets, and then I'm like, did you mean to? And it's like, oh my God, no. Well, okay, good thing I didn't tell you the actual deadline because you have time.
Yeah, that's great. Exactly. Great. And we don't mind if you're all sending it in. I think some casting directors are asking for like just you to send it in, the agent to send it in. We've tried that. It's not working yet. So I don't know if that's going to change, but I've got a team of 3 unlucky. They're all hustling and getting it all up. So for us, it doesn't really matter right now. I might change my mind, but we've tried. We were like, agents, try to send it to us all in one email. But it's so hard for you guys because you're getting it throughout the day. It's like early bird gets the worm. Just send it. That's why I said recently.
Or you think you're done, and then there come 2 more who made it.
Exactly. And then you're like, do we send it or is it weird? And so I just say, just send it to us directly so we could start loading fast for our office anyway. But
so how does it work when you're like, because you're the filter, right, to the client? Mm-hmm. What kind of percentage makes it up to the client, and then what kind of percentage do you think actually gets an audition? Let's say it's a decent commercial, like a good paying one of 4 figures.
So say it again.
How many actors will be submitted for trendy girl 20 to 30 in your Tinder app commercial? I'm just making something up. Paying $1,500 or print ad for, and then how many actually get considered by client? Because I'm assuming you narrow it down.
Right.
And then how many actually, I guess get considered by client, and then how many actually get an audition?
I would say there's about, and I have to look at this again, there's anywhere from about 5,000. Like if it's a 20-year-old, there's at least 5,000, union or non-union, that's going to submit. So 5,000. We try to go through that as fast and furiously as we can. I'm like kind of a painter. I get through, like I put as many as I like in this pile, and then I start to shuffle it over of like who, works, and make sure that I'm getting enough ethnicities and that sort of thing. So we get, I guess, from that 5,000 per role, if it's like one role, 150 will go forward. Will send us stuff, and then we'll try to present around that 100 to 150. But if it's like 7 roles, we're about to put out something for Vizio that's 7 roles. I can't put down 150 people per person. That's crazy. So we'll probably give about 200 for those 7 roles. Wow. So divide that between them.
So this is my point, because I feel like it's incredibly competitive.
Yes.
And sometimes I see people get so disappointed that they're not booking, or they don't book every 3rd thing, let alone every other. And if you're getting the audition and the request, you've already really done such a great number game. You're already in such a small percentage.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like under 10%.
Like wrote that somewhere. Like he always says how many people audition and be grateful. It's a gift. I think that's kind of telling people to be quiet in the lobby, but which I think is funny. But yeah, it is. It's a gift. It's a gift. I always tell people that. And if you get in that room and you see a bunch of people that have blonde hair, and you have my hair, and you're like, well, there goes that. I always say, do not say that, because I did that as an actor. It's a gift. I call you in for a reason. Right. And because at the last second, they'll go, shit, we should have had a couple of redheads commit. Yeah. And then I'm like, hold on a second, bump, bump, boom, and they're in. So it's a gift. If you ever get there, I always say to people, enjoy that time, because it is few far in between, and it's really hard. When I became a casting director and I really got into it, I was grateful because I saw how hard the competition was. And I was like, oh, that's why I never booked. It was like, because it's hard. Those numbers it's very hard out there. You have to want it. You got to want it and love it. And when you're bitter and angry, you got to move. I always say me and Taryn knew when to throw the towel. She was a model. You just confidently throw the towel and just do the next thing, but it's like, if this is what your passion is and your drive is. I have people that are like, my buddy down the street, he's like, I don't know, 53, and he's like, I just want it. And I'm like, great, then Dwight, you do it.
Stick with it and celebrate the win of the audition. Celebrate the chance to get the FaceTime and hopefully some recognition for, just a good audition, if not the actual booking, but hopefully the booking too. I hear my child. It was mine who interrupted first, but she's being so quiet at the door.
I'm surprised mine aren't dancing over here. Usually I see like through the or they come through here. I think I'm gonna lock the door, so I'm like they can't come to my side door.
Right.
But yeah, I think man, it's a gift. It's like, and I always say to people like I'm always getting callbacks, but I'm never booking. I'm like, that's great. That means you're really close. It's hard to land on that table. We only put a first and a second choice. That's it.
That's
it.
Wow.
That's it. 1 and 2. I rarely see 3. In fact, we have these little things printed out. We don't ever use the 3. It's always first and second choice. That's it. And also clients want to move faster now. Directors want to, like everyone wants to move faster. So they don't want to go 3 deep. They don't want to they want to be able to like have their 2,
Okay, that's totally interesting. I had a New York casting director tell me they put 10 on hold. So the range, y'all, is somewhere between 2 and 10. Yeah, because some people
do 1 and 2. That's it. First and a second. Sometimes a third, but most of the times they fight and get rid of that link, and it's called the secret link, and we don't show that link. It's
unless just, there's a little like push for more
somewhere of like, oh, we needed one more blonde in there or something like that. But if you're getting on a veil, man, go celebrate.
Are there any things? I mean, you being like super nice and warm as a human, I can tell from this conversation and just our experience. But is there anything that's really like a deal breaker and you're gonna not call that person back in? Anything like that?
It's just a bad attitude. That's all. It's just a bad attitude. Like if I know, because here goes, and I get everyone has bad days. I've had a bad attitude and I've had a bad day, just like you said earlier. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but you bet your sweet butt as a casting director, my days of those are not there anymore. Like I come in and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm happy and I leave it at the door. And I think that's the best thing that you can do. Again, it's a gift. And so get yourself in a good zone. Get some good music going. I've had people meditating in my lobby, playing their tunes. They'll, D, I'm going to go get a coffee. You want a coffee? Great. Like most people that I know, like it's got to be a good attitude. I think like my advice to everybody, know your camera ups. Those guys are your best friends. If you can treat them like golds, I think a lot of people come in and they think those guys will call me up and say, hey, Peter didn't have a really good attitude. And then I've got to say, well, I don't want to put Peter in front of my director because he's going to love Peter. And then he's going to get on set and give that attitude there. So for us, it's just, and again, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've had bad days. And I regret those. I regret those days of like, I wish I just could have bit my tongue. You know what I mean? And so it's always attitude for us. And I think for any office, again, know your people. I think if you're going to follow up with a thank you card, just say, hey, Taryn was so funny today when she, I don't know, was doing the explanation and she joked about this. Or people will be like, how's Scarlett and Jack? Like they know my family. They know your people. When I was an actor, I knew nobody. I didn't know the casting director. I went in there like a fool. Like, again, you got to stand out. How do you stand out? And it's just like, I have people that I see tapping in here that I know really well that I consider my friends. I see them more than I see my family, more than I see my husband, more than I see my kids. So it's like, you guys are, I know them so much. So for me, my best advice is give just great attitude, because you're going to get, like you said, there's not going to be offices that are always as warm as us.
Right.
Just find, be selfish. That's your time to get in there and get in your zone from the second you get out of the car, because the person in the elevator might be the client.
Right. Right. Good point. Yeah. Don't let the cranky pants show if you're having a cranky pants day.
Don't go in your car and scream and get over it and come back, and.
Right. Right. All positive. We all need more positive because it's stressful. It's fast-paced and stressful work. So like if you are working with people who are just coming in for that 5 minutes and they're bringing you a little sunshine, it leaves you with a good feeling when you see their face again.
Yeah, and the best compliment I can get is when someone the producer will call me on set and say, you know what, Amy was amazing on set. That's what I need. And so how do I know Amy's amazing? Not that she's just a good actor, but I know Amy had a great attitude from the first call to the second.
Yeah.
Because we can't put you forward if we know that it's just you're
right.
Loose cannon. We're like,
Okay. I think I'm not meant to ask my last question because there's only 36 seconds. So I will say thank you so much.
Yes!
It was lovely spending an hour with you. I'm inspired by your running. I'll go get on a bike or something today now. Do a little yoga on YouTube.
Oh my God. Stay safe out there in New York. It's crazy out there. Stay safe and
We will.
yeah. And thanks for always sending great people. You guys are lovely. You're awesome. You have a great attitude. And I've had a great time. This has been awesome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for everything, Dita. Thanks everyone for your questions and sending up these hearts and this love and the waves.
Just keep being